Hey, what's up? It's Jared with State of Tech, and instead of our kind of normal Wednesday review video, we're going to hijack that and talk about the iPhone. So sorry if you aren't into it, but the iPhone 7 was announced today, among other things that I'm not so thrilled about, but we'll talk about that later. So the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus were announced today. And in last Friday's video, I talked about, what the rumors were available for the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, and maybe there would be a 7 Pro or something like that. But we know now today that there's an iPhone 7 and an iPhone 7 Plus. So let's talk about some of the features and some of the things about this phone so that we can get an idea of whether or not it is good to upgrade from. So Apple did say, just like they do every year when they release a new phone, that there are performance increases abound all across the board, and this is no change in the iPhone 7. You should see a huge boost in performance if you're going from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 7, and pretty decent performance boosts if you go from a 6S or 6S Plus to a 7 or a 7 Plus. So that's cool. I mean, performance upgrades are basically what all phones do, so that's not new or anything. We just expect that every year to see performance upgrades. One thing that did get upgraded definitely is the amount of storage that comes standard on these devices. No longer are we with the 16 gig, so no more are the people with the 16 gig phones who run out of storage 5 minutes after powering their phone up. You now have 32 gigs as a minimum, which I believe is usable. You could get by with 32 gigs of storage, definitely. You then have a 128 and a 256 storage. So on top of that, let's talk about the camera. Now, I get much more into detail talking about the camera over on another YouTube channel that we have called Ditch Auto. On Ditch Auto, we talk about all things photography. We usually talk about DSLR or, bigger types of cameras, but I thought it would be great to talk about the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus camera over there. So check out the link in the description below to that video. But let's talk about the cameras a little bit here really quick. The iPhone 7 is being upgraded with optical stabilization, which is great. You're going to get more stable and sharp images and better video when you're shooting video with the iPhone 7 because of the optical image stabilization. You also have an f1.8 aperture, which is pretty wide. It's going to be good in low light situations, which the phones typically are not so good at. So that big wide aperture of 1.8 is definitely going to be a plus. And then it's a 6-element lens and a 12 megapixel sensor. They're also saying it's 60% faster, and that their quad LED flash, is definitely going to help with using flash on your phone, which I usually don't. The flash on these phones just isn't that good, typically because of where it's placed, and it's just harsh. And so hopefully their newly designed flash will be a little bit better than previous versions. There's a 7 megapixel selfie camera on the front with auto stabilization. So I would assume auto stabilization isn't the same as optical. On the auto stabilization, you're probably getting some sort of digital stabilization as opposed to the actual elements of the camera doing the stabilization. So that's a little different. Now on the 7 Plus, we're getting dual cameras, and that's intriguing to me. Basically for one reason, but it may be two reasons. So let's talk about that really quick. The first is that your zoom is basically going to be much better. Optically, the phone comes with a 28 millimeter and a 56 millimeter lens, which means that you can go from 1x to 2x zoom just by zooming, and you're not going to lose any image quality at all there. And then, of course, you can go from 2.1 to 10x, and that's going to be all digital zoom. And from those of us who have used zoom on our phones before, you know that the further you zoom in, the lower the quality of the image. That's because the image is being zoomed digitally, and it's just expanding pixels. It doesn't have any more information to work from. But with the dual cameras, you're going to get the wide 1x, and then when you switch over into 2x, you're going to have more of a zoom, and you're not going to lose any image quality, which is fantastic. Apple has also talked about technology using a depth map for portraits that's going to come out later, to where you're actually going to be able to take a picture with the wider angle lens, the 28 millimeter, but it uses the 56 millimeter to get that cool compression that you get in an image when you use more of a telephoto lens. So it'll be interesting to see how that looks with the fall off. Apple showed some example photos, and so it'll be interesting to see what we can actually get in the real world with that. LG recently announced on their V20 dual cameras on the back, and they showed off some interesting features, and so it'll be interesting to see how that stacks up, Apple's version of it and LG's version of it. It'll be interesting to see how that works. So, of course, they improved the display. It's brighter, it's nicer looking, things are going to load faster. Instagram stories are going to be, integrated in with the dual camera. There's just other things that are cool. The big thing that people have been griping about, and let's just talk about it, is the headphone jack. There is no headphones jack on these phones. And Apple basically said that they are being courageous in removing this. And I think that Apple is just doing what Apple does. Apple takes things away when they're ready for the rest of the world to move on. Think about how Apple was one of the first to remove CD-ROM drives or, whatever drives out of all of their computers. I mean, they had that out of their complete line while other companies were still shipping, CD drives or whatever in their laptops. They made room for other things like a bigger battery or for other technologies. And I think that they're doing the same thing in the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. And they use the word courageous, but in my opinion, I think it's more like we're being courageous because we want to sell more Bluetooth stuff. Obviously, your phone, your iPhone 7, your 7 Plus is going to come with ear pods. Those are wired headphones that are going to plug into your Lightning port on the bottom of your phone, which means you're not going to be able to listen to music and charge your phone at the same time. You're going to have to choose. But if you want to spend some money and go and get AirPods or get some Bluetooth headphones from other manufacturers like Beats, who Apple also owns, then you'll have the ability to wirelessly listen to music and you'll be able to charge your phone using the port on the bottom. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus didn't get wireless charging. It didn't get any other form of charging. So when your port is occupied, your port is occupied. You're not going to be able to do anything else with that port. So you'll have to choose. And if you're typically a person who, doesn't always have a 100% charged phone and you want to listen to music, you're going to have to choose. You're going to have to go with some wireless headphones of some sort. Apple's hoping they're AirPods or Beats. And then you're going to have to, keep your phone charged. It's just money that they want you to spend. And I think that that's what Apple has always done a good job of. They get rid of some things so that you can spend money in other ways. And that's what's kept Apple alive for so many years. So Apple definitely is pushing forward in the way that they always have been with their other products. Sure, it's going to frustrate some people. I don't have Bluetooth audio in my vehicle, and so I'm going to have to use an adapter for that. And of course, the phone's going to come with an adapter this time, but I guarantee the iPhone 7S Plus or whatever isn't going to come with an adapter. They may really just push for us to go and buy Bluetooth technology for wireless headphones. That's probably what they're trying to do. Sure, they made some more room for battery, increased storage. The phones are more waterproofed, up to 50 meters. So there's things that are different that may take up a little bit more of that internal space. But they use the word courageous or courage like they're just being courageous and removing it. And I think that courage doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just Apple being Apple and Apple wanting us to move on and step up and buy some of the other technologies that are out there. The iPhone officially is going to go on pre-order on Friday, and it will become available in stores and in our hands on September 16th. So I'd like to know who of you out there are thinking about the iPhone 7. Are you thinking about the 7 or the 7 Plus? Are you thinking about what storage option? And then, of course, what color? And so my last thought is on the jet black color that they have came out with. Of course, the colors are always something that Apple does. They've got several different color options, especially nowadays. And this jet black is a shiny, fancy phone. However, on their website, we did find that Apple actually recommends using a case with that phone because it's going to scratch a little bit easier than other finishings. They talk about their advanced anodizing and polishing process. But then they mentioned that it would be best to use a case with the phone because that finish is going to show minor nicks and scratches a lot easier than their other finishes. So you're going to end up needing a case with that if you want to keep it looking good. If you're like me, you put a case on your phone anyways because those accidental drops or slides on the table scuff up your phone regardless of the finish on the back of it. And so when you put a case on the back of your phone, it's really only you that knows what color your phone is. Aside from the front plate, which can either be in black or white, the back of your phone will probably be masked with a case. I see more people with cased phones than people without cased phones. So chances are that's not a big deal. But keep in mind when you are buying your iPhone 7 or iPhone 7 Plus that the jet black, although it looks cool, will scratch up a little bit easier than the other finishes. So the jet black's also only available in 128 and 256, by the way. So if you want that jet black, you're going to have to go premium price on your phones. Lastly, about the unlocked or locked state of the phones, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus will be available in the major carriers like always. It will also be available financed through your major carriers or through Apple themselves. If you finance your phone through the major carriers, it's going to come carrier locked. If you buy the phone outright or finance it through Apple, your phone will come unlocked. So there's no need to purchase an unlocked edition. They're not actually going to have an unlocked edition. They're just going to have that differentiation. So if you buy your phone in a contract or in a plan, like a next plan or something like a payment plan through your carrier, it will be locked. If you buy it through Apple or you buy it outright by paying the full price, the phone will come unlocked right from the factory. So that's going to do it for today's video. Share your thoughts on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus in the comments below. Are you going to buy it? What size are you going to get? What color are you going to get? What case are you going to get? We'd love to talk about it in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe to our channel here on State of Tech. We will definitely be unboxing and taking a look at the 7 and 7 Plus when they come in. So make sure to subscribe and check out that link to Ditch Auto if you want to learn more and talk more about the camera on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. Thanks again, and we hope to see you next time here on State of Tech.